All right, folks, here we are. Welcome to Jackman Radio. So excited tonight to have this legend joining us. It's the man himself, Primetime 99, Alex Stein. Alex, how are you, bro?
Man, it's an honor. Thank you, Eric. I want to say thank you, Mike, for having me on. I know right now we're a little boo-boo because we're in the car, but we're about to be in the studio at my house studio, for lack of a better word. And then we can really get down and dirty. But let me say something. That rap going viral, the best part of it is, Mike, when people recite rhymes from it, dude, that makes me feel so freaking good. I really appreciate that. All these people come up to me, like even kids have come up to me. I don't know how they even saw the video, but they will say, like, put a bullet in Putin's brain. Do it for the Ukraine. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is epic. Put a bullet in Putin's brain. Do it.
Put a bullet in Putin's brain. Dude, Alex, it's literally been everything at our house, man. It's been our oxygen for the last couple of days. It's been getting us through the days. It's just.
Why is this though? Why do you think it went so viral in y'all's opinion? Like, it's kind of sad. Not that it's sad, the video, but it's just crazy what goes viral and what doesn't. It just blows my mind.
Well, I think it's a jolt. I think it's a real jolt. When I watched it, I really felt something, and I think a lot of people are responding in a very similar fashion because obviously there's a lot of people who don't know that it's just satire, and they think that you're serious and you're being totally real, which I can kind of see that a little bit. But what I really see is, obviously this is the first time I've ever spoken to you, but just looking into you a little bit, man, I can tell that you are someone who does care about the issues. You know what you're talking about, and then you add this friggin' outrageous, hysterical, in-your-face persona. It's not really rude, but it's outrageous. So it's not cruel. It's not mean. It's not mean-spirited, and I think that's why people are responding to it.
Wow, and that's honestly what I'm trying to go for. Is I want to be the self-deprecator. Like, I want to make fun of myself, but really, it's just putting a mirror on the mainstream media bullcrap that they always say and just repeating it. Like, people are like, oh, you're creative, but really I'm not. I'm kind of a hack. I'm just stealing the mainstream media's ideas and just regurgitating them, but I'm using like the craziest ideas that they have. But at the end of the day, like World War III, it's almost inevitable. Like, we know this is what's going to happen. And so this song, I guess it resonates with people because they're worried about it, or it's just on everybody's mind. And I guess this is the psyop, though. People told me, Alex, what are you going to create content about when COVID's over? You're a COVID content creator. And I'm like, you imbecile, what are you talking about? I'm a COVID content creator. It's like, dude, there's so much other stuff to talk about in this world other than COVID. So it's just kind of funny how like they try to pigeonhole me, and then my biggest video is like the first video I make about the Russia-Ukrainian thing. So it's kind of funny how things work and what resonates with the people.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And that's what I do with the thing I'm known most for is my Donald Trump impression, which blew up for me back in 2015, 2016. I started going to his rallies here in New Hampshire dressed like Trump, and the biggest thing that happened was he called me out at one of them and called me to the front of the stage in front of 5,000 people, and it turned into a whole thing. And I got on see it.
Wait, I didn't know that. So Eric, he like had you get in front of everybody. He's like, oh, I love this guy's impression of me.
Yeah, he went, oh no, look at this guy. Look at that guy back there. Oh, tell me this isn't Trump. Please tell me I don't look like that. Come on up here. And he called me up to the front of the stage at a big rally the night before the New Hampshire primary. And he laughed and he got a kick out of it, and he didn't have me executed, which was nice. So from there, I did a bunch of interviews and I got on TV, and he said, hey man, that's great. Congratulations. I hope you make a lot of money doing this. So I've just stayed busy. Dude, from that point. I've kept the grift going. The grift has been unbelievable, Alex. I can't even tell you.
I love that. I love to hear that. But Eric, it's funny when everybody does the Donald Trump impression. You're a real method actor. You get in there. You do the squinty face. You do the hands. I can't do. I'm a comedian. I'm an actor. And when I say I'm an actor, like the biggest thing I've been in is an Ozarka water bottle commercial. But at the same time, when I wish I could do impressions. So that is such a good skill to have that you can do that. That should not go. That's not a grift, is what I'm trying to say. Like, that's actually a really big talent. And a lot of people do Trump impersonations. And the fact that you got a good one, I mean, dude, that's a real talent in my opinion.
Thanks, man. Yeah, everyone just goes, it's going to be huge. It's like, no, man. I get at the psychology of it. I dig deep. I do historical research. I read the books that he put his name on that he said he wrote, but he didn't really write because I'm at like a second grade reading and writing level. Okay. And The Art of the Deal is one of the greatest books ever written. It's been translated into 4,000 languages. We even translated it into Pig Latin so Rosie O'Donnell could read it.
Now that's a good joke. Okay, but what do we think about Trump? Do we want him? I mean, I used to I didn't like Trump, but kind of before 2016. Not that I didn't like him, but I was kind of wary of him. Then he gets into the office, I fall in love with him. And then his last year in the office, he disgusts me with the lockdowns, what he did in January 6th, how he became a vaccine salesman. So what do you guys think about Donald Trump? It just sucks. I'm on this roller coaster of emotions where I like the guy. And overall, he's a good orator, public speaker. He's the best. I mean, like that, I can never make fun of. But some of his decisions that he's making, he even said his son, Jared Kushner's son-in-law, that he sold us out to Israel and that Israel is more important than America. So, dude, I don't know if I want Trump to come back and then hire some other kid, hire his son-in-law again to shill for Israel some more.
Yeah. Oh, no, I mean, 100%. I tell people that Trump gave Israel everything they wanted. I mean, Kushner used to have Netanyahu sleep at his fucking house when he was a kid. And when Trump finally got in there, and one of the first leaders he had, if not the first, was Netanyahu. Netanyahu's like, now, Jared, can we finally tell everybody how long we've known each other and how close we are? And you look at Charles Kushner, Jared's father, and their dealings. I mean, yeah, they're ardent, hardcore.
Wait, their office is at 666 Fifth Avenue. Did
yes.
You know that?
It's
paid extra money for that address.
Alex, it's so satanic. It's Rosemary's Baby on steroids. Okay, you couldn't. John Carpenter couldn't even write this stuff. It's so scary. Okay.
Well, and then Jared Kushner's dad got arrested for. So Jared Kushner blackmailed his brother-in-law.
It's incredible.
Had his brother-in-law sleep with a prostitute and filmed it and went to jail for that.
It's fucking incredible.
Scumbaggery as it gets to underneath pot somebody.
And Chris Christie's the one who put him away, dude. Did you know that?
Dude, it's so this circle is this big. It's not even a big circle. They're all connected. I mean, I'm a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. We know this. But man, when you hear about this connection, he gets a pardon. There's a lot of nonviolent, drug offenders. There's all kinds of people that deserve a pardon before that. I mean, the guy's a multimillionaire. Right. His life's fine. But still, these people are all connected in some sort of way. It's very unusual.
Yeah, but to answer your question, where am I on Trump? There's like you said, man, there's a lot about him that I just love and admire. I love what he did to the Bush dynasty. I love what he did to the Clinton dynasty. He did this all single-handedly in one election cycle, which is completely unprecedented. It's so fucking amazing. And I will always appreciate that about Trump. I mean, we all would love to just rub the Bush and Clinton's noses and shit like he did in front of the whole world. I mean, that goes without saying, man. That was unbelievable.
But Eric, why didn't he lock that bitch up, dude? Hillary Clinton is evil, dude. He could have thrown her underneath the jail.
Alex, that was just a fun thing that we said during the campaign. Flynn said, lock her up. Q said, lock her up. Bring her down to Guantanamo Bay. We'll waterboard her with Trump ice. It's great water. It's actually just toilet water from Trump Tower, but we don't tell anybody that. No, man, look.
Eric, you got all the jokes. You even know that you have the backstory of where the toilet water comes from Trump Tower.
Alex, we're going to become fast friends in the next hour, dude, and find that when we eventually collaborate in person, it's going to be earth-shattering.
Yes. Okay, so you're in New Hampshire. I'm in Dallas. But the thing is you need to come. I mean, I need to go there. I mean, New Hampshire's a great state for libertarians, but I don't know hardly anything about New Hampshire. I'm sure you guys know a little bit about Texas. But
been there.
Tell me about the political makeup. What I know about New Hampshire, isn't it kind of like a lot of old blue collar people? Am I wrong, or what's the makeup of New Hampshire?
I'll give you this one, Mike.
New Hampshire has been blue the last couple cycles. It did go for crooked in 2016, and Biden won in 20. But like you said, there is a huge libertarian presence here. And in fact, in 2012, Ron Paul came in second place behind Mitt Romney. And Eric and I were very, very much involved in that campaign. We were involved in Ron Paul's 2008 campaign. And, there's a good mixed bag up here. And for the most part, you get left alone. There's some synergy with Texas in terms of, individualism and being able to have property rights. And, we have a very well-armed populace up here. If you're into guns, New Hampshire is a good place to be for sure.
There's no gun laws. there's no gun laws in New Hampshire? What's the deal with guns in New Hampshire?
It's pretty loose.
Pretty loose. That's how I like it. I like it loose.
As far as the gun laws,
Chicago, you can't have any guns and they have the worst gun violence. That's all you need to know. Is where you can't have a gun is where you're most likely to get shot because the criminals don't have them.
Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. I'm here to tell you, Pierce, if you try to take our firearms, 1776 will commence again. Do you understand me, bud?
Alex Jones, I love it.
We got
Alex Jones. Him and Trump. Those are the two impressions everybody loves.
The only reason I'm upset about Ukraine, all this stuff with Ukraine and NATO and Azov and all them, it's slowing down the civil war here at home. I want to eat my neighbors. I want to barbecue them. I want to polish my guns. I want to go down to the gun range. I want to drink big steins of German highbrow beer. And I can't do that with this Ukraine shit's going on. I don't like it.
Well, guys, what's a gallon of gas in New Hampshire right now? I'm driving by the gas station. I actually just put some gas in my car. It was $4.99 is where I put gas in.
It's
but that was
cheaper here.
Area.
Yeah, it's probably $4.60, $4.70 here in New Hampshire. Would you say somewhere around there?
Y'all remember with Trump, it was $1.60. I mean, it was the lowest it's been in years.
Alex, they're saying in California it's going to be $90 a gallon, and only Caitlyn Jenner is going to be able to afford to gas up her Prius or her Humvee or whatever she is driving. Whatever she's driving that day, when she's running over the homeless. It's going to be very expensive, but she'll be able to afford it.
You're only going to be able to buy gas if you're transgender in California. That's the new state bill they're passing. The only gas are trans people. And if you're not trans, you have to get an electric vehicle by 2024 is what they're trying to pass.
And you'll be at that meeting telling them about your daughter, Lizzie?
Yes, okay. So, Eric, it's funny you say that. Dude, that resonates with so many people. The idea that my daughter identifies as a lizard. Like, I mean, I get that of any videos because that video is not super viral or anything. But that joke, that's like I get repeated to. They're like, your openly gay lizard daughter. They love that. I get that in messages all the time. People, that's their favorite.
Why do you have monkey bars? I want a terrarium. Dude, how do you come up with that? Did you just make that up off the spot, or do you write down a couple sides and know kind of where you're going to go? Because, dude, your delivery is flawless.
Okay, you're being so nice. I consider myself like I'm not a talented person really that much in life, but I've always been able to improv. I have like naturally. As a matter of fact, like in 8th grade, my teachers they're like, oh man, when you do the improv classes, they just like, Alex, you're a really talented improver. You should be an actor. And I was such an idiot. I was like, no, I want to play sports. I don't want to be a gay actor. And I really regret that now because what I'm saying is my teachers did notice my talent as a little kid because I didn't have anything. I wasn't that smart of a student. And I of course, disregarded my teachers. And now my improv skills are, I guess like the thing that's kind of putting me on the map. Because like you said, I don't really write this stuff out. The one of the first videos I had that went viral before I started getting viral videos was like Ben Shapiro, Sheridan, Charlie Kirk. They just signal boosted it. Not that I love those guys, but I don't really hate them. I'm just saying those guys, I did a speech where I talked about abortion. And I said that abortion is the #1 effective form of birth control. And that, and I basically talked about birthing persons. And I wrote down the speech word for word. And it did well. Like it went viral. Like I said, it got shared by some big accounts. It got like 1 million views. But I realized the whole time that I was reading it, I'm just like looking down at the piece of paper. So for me, I'm better when I do the speeches. Like I'm better if I have the idea, like you said, like I try to remember some stuff. I try to think of some bullet points, It's like with my rap. Like I have a couple rhymes that like I know. Like I was practicing before the rap. I was like, gas prices way too high. Vladimir Putin needs to die. But really, like other than that, I was really just going off the dome because I'm like some sort of autistic moron. Okay, I'm pulling up. So good. So we're about to transition to my computer. But what I'm saying is, it's like with these ideas, I'm kind of almost, I'm talking and I'm almost not thinking, if that makes sense. I'm literally just like, I don't want to say the Holy Ghost. That's not what it is. I'm just kind of like in the zone, I guess.
It's a stream of consciousness and you use the force is what you do.
Well, something like that. I got freaking Yoda is the one calling the shots. But seriously though, when I do a lot of prep, that's not how I perform well. But see, there's a guy, I don't know if you guys have seen my videos, a guy named Cassidy Campbell that I create content with. Well, let me get my other phone. And so we're almost home. We're almost here.
We're there with him,
He doesn't like to improv at all. He Okay, let me run it. We're here. I gotta get back.
I like to eat my steak and shrimp.
I'm a pimp on a whip. See, I've always said that rhyme. Okay. Hold on.
I'm a Zelensky stan.
Number one fan. Okay, hold on.
We're here with Alex Jones. He don't fuck with Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, I know. Alex Jones, Skull and Bones. That's the one.
That's everything.
Okay, here. Let's go.
And Infowars.com. We got Primetime 99 Alex Stein here in the studio, folks. We just had a big bowl of chili. We put some drops of adrenochrome in it, folks. Infowars.com.
Okay, now you gotta let me in. Now I can really do the interview. Okay. Now you got me two ways. Okay, yes, now. Oh, no, my headphones in. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Can you guys hear me?
Publican. Yeah, he can hear you.
Is there an echo, though? Because I don't have my headphones in.
No, there's no echo on our end. Are we echoing on your end?
Oh, you guys are good. I just checked because I've left my headphones in the car like a maniac. Okay, wow, guys, thank you, Eric. I'm telling you, Mike. Now I finally made it. So listen, let me tell you what I was just doing. So I was talking about Cassidy Campbell and these speeches. I got asked to guest host on the Blaze TV for You Are Here with Elijah Schaffer because he's going out of town. So I had to say yes. They asked me like last night, kind of late. So I had to do that. But as soon as it was done, I had plenty of time. I'm going to go home. I'm going to talk to you guys. My buddy Cassidy's like, oh, this meeting's going late. They had a transgender discriminatory bill on the Denton City Council. And that's the same city where I had a video kind of go nuts where I kicked down all those transgender signs. So what I'm saying is that's why I was late. I was trying to go speak at that meeting, but I missed my turn. I missed it by like 10 minutes. But the whole theory is my buddy Cassidy, he writes down his speeches. He does better, if he writes it down. And like Eric, look, he rehearses it. He knows what the heck to do. Some people are better rehearsed. For me, I gotta kind of go off the dome.
Yeah, you have a few things in mind that you want to say and a point that you want to get across. And a big thing with my Trump impression, when I just show up guerrilla style out to big events or rallies dressed as Trump, I'm going off what people are throwing at me. So if they want to like have a conversation and they just are cool to play along, then I'll give it right back to them what they want to hear. And oftentimes that's where I'll have like my best interactions and some of the funniest shit I'll cook up because I just put my knowledge, what I know about the world, and big into conspiracies like you are. They always end up being right, by the way, Alex.
Well, so are you an InfoWars Alex Jones fan?
Dude, so Mike and I, we call him Emmerich because his middle name's Emmerich.
And that's Alex's middle name.
Yeah, that's why we call Alex Emmerich. So when we refer to Emmerich, we're talking about Alex Jones. Mike and I have been into him since we were in college, like 2005, 2006. And we have loved the Alex Jones personality. One of the first things I remember when I saw him was when he infiltrated Bohemian Grove and learning about all that. So we've always been into him. We were with him through his early 9/11 truth days when he would march in New York City. We were there with him when he got arrested.
You marched in New York City with Alex Jones?
We did, man. We did.
Wait, what? I didn't watch that video. He's like, 9/11 was an inside job. So you guys are chanting with him? You guys are badass. See, 9/11 for me, guys, we got to talk about that. For me, that was like the biggest eye opener because when they brought down those towers, I remember as a kid watching it and they like made us like, oh, the big bad boogeyman has weapons of mass destruction. We got to go kill 1 million Muslim people. Right. And now people don't realize they're doing that same psychological operation. They're just rerunning it with, some other, scam. And you look at 9/11, and I believe it was orchestrated by people within our own government to pump up the military industrial complex. It started basically a 20-year war in the Middle East and kill people that were a huge threat to Israel and, Saudi Arabia. So for me, that was like my red pill Matrix moment, where Neo gives you the pill. I remember watching like Loose Change and, I'd heard 9/11 conspiracy stuff, but I kind of didn't give enough credence because I just didn't care. I wasn't like political. I didn't even care about, anything really. I was kind of younger. In my life, I guess I just wasn't worried. I didn't care about the truth. I just was worried about the Dallas Cowboys or what, getting drunk or getting high. Sure. So when I had that red pill moment, I watched Loose Change and then, I did my own research after the fact. Dude, that was like eye-opening. So you guys have been awake forever if you guys knew about it when Alex Jones was protesting it. Like I'm saying, I kind of came into it late. That's epic. So tell me, when did y'all realize it was all bullcrap? You were watching Alex Jones like right when that happened, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I know that he actually did a live broadcast on the day of where he was basically already saying that he thought it was some kind of inside plot. But really, for me, it was my uncle in 2004 started talking to me about 9/11. And saying a lot of the research and information that I could only realize and come to understand some years later, including urban movers and the Israeli connection and all that stuff that was going on. And that led me to Ryan Dawson's research. I don't know if you're familiar with him at all.
Very familiar. Yes, very familiar with Ryan, of course.
So he's done some of the best, films on 9/11. And yeah, when I first got into it, Loose Change was definitely the gateway. I think I actually borrowed a DVD from my Uncle John. That's how I kind of first saw it.
Okay, Mike, wait, I hate to cut you off, so remember that point, but it's kind of funny you say, like, your uncle red-pilled you, because now a lot of, like, this transgender movement and stuff, I know this is how it's weird how it's connected, but a lot of the people that are, like, transitioning their sex, they're saying, like, an uncle showed them or an aunt showed them. So it's just kind of funny how influential an aunt or uncle is, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it's kind of awesome when when your uncle is badass like yours, but it's kind of sad when they have, like, an openly gay aunt or uncle that, like, wants to, like, meddle in a kid's life and say, oh, you should be a transgender at a young age. It's kind of weird how it's like that. How I guess what I'm trying to say, how influential your parents' brother or sister is. But okay, so keep going. I was interested in what you're saying. Sorry to cut you off.
Right. Yeah. No problem. I mean, that's a whole other topic, and you've got a lot of courage to address that topic and the abortion topic. I typically stay away from all that stuff, dude, to be honest. But
it's not worth it. And that's the thing. I hate when some guy tried to write a hit piece, call me transphobic. I'm not transphobic at all. I have gay family members. I'm not anti-trans. If you're an adult, you can wear a dress all you want. I don't care. I'm about personal freedom. Even now, like, I used to be really anti-vax. Now, if you want to get it, go ahead. I mean, you know what I'm saying? People, if they want to wear a mask, you can put on your mask. Like, you can do whatever you want. I'm all about personal freedom. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm not about do what I tell you to do. Now, I try to warn people, but at the same time, people don't want to be warned. People don't want to be told information. So that's like, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back at all. But when you blur the line of reality and truth, is kind of what I do, that makes people question the reality. That's all you can do. You can't, like, tell them facts. You need to make people like, is this real? And then they have to kind of do some research. And then that opens up, that turns a part of their brain on that actually has to work and do some learning other than, like, just the sheep brain where you're just like, whatever's on Netflix. You know what I mean?
You're confronting them with it. Yeah, you're really confronting them with it. And, back to my uncle, I'm still very close with my uncle. It was my father's brother. They were a year apart. They were basically Irish twins. And, he didn't beat us over the head with it or shove anything down our throat. He just kind of presented it and said, hey, guys, this is what I think about this. This is what I think about the Kennedy assassination, the wars they have in the Middle East, and this is what I think about 9/11. So I listened to him. I listened to what anybody, if someone's going to be respectful and talk to me and tell me how they feel about stuff, I love having conversations and listening to people, and I feel like we're really losing the ability to do that now. So, some of the stuff in Loose Change and some of the stuff my uncle might believe about it, I might not even agree with, but that's fine. But that led me down a path to go into, like you said earlier, your own reading and research and education in these big subjects. I mean, I remember being in high school and talking to some of my history teachers and some of my teachers basic shit about RFK and JFK assassination that they just had no idea about. And I got called a conspiracy theorist and this and that.
In school, they were calling you in like, you're a bad.
Of course.
I'm jealous of you, bro, because I didn't really I knew all the 9/11 stuff, but dude, I really basically didn't wake up. I mean, I'm saying when I realized around 2016, I guess that's like the end of 2015, the Pizzagate and the Jeffrey Epstein and all that stuff. That was kind of like I knew about 9/11 and stuff, but then I was like, wait, what? I guess that was like the moment I was really like, okay, these government are really, really lying to us, because like they admitted that they were on Jeffrey Epstein's plane all this time. There's no way they wouldn't know what the heck he was doing if they spend that much time with him. So I think that's nuts that you were red-pilled in school fighting with your teachers, and we know all these teachers are idiot indoctrinators. You know what I mean? So,
well, some of them are. I don't want to write off.
Some are good. I had some coaches and stuff I respect still.
Great teachers, but some of them are very dismissive of me and very patronizing and very condescending. And that continued into college. I mean, I was big into 9/11 truth during my college years, which was 2005 to 2009. And, I feel like I made mistakes and I didn't get everything right. And if I don't believe something I did then, I own up to it. Or if I'm shown different evidence or information, I'm willing to look at that. So that's been part of my evolution. But I just feel like now, if you question anything, you just get lumped in with, QAnon people or this and that. And you mentioned Pizzagate. The Pizzagate thing is it's not, we think that there's a basement at Comet Ping Pong where Hillary Clinton's killing kids. It's deeper than that, man. It's more connected. It's more about the emails, the coded messages, Podesta being close with Dennis Hastert, who a judge called a serial pedophile, who's not in jail, who was one of the longest serving speakers of the House ever. Most people don't even know who that guy is.
But Mike, no, see, nobody knows who Dennis Hastert. Yeah, you just nailed it. Sorry, I tried to cut you off before you made the point. Nobody knows about him. And at one point, he was third in line to rule the free world. And this guy was diddling children. We have that. Like, this is a fact. This is not a conspiracy theorist. This isn't JFK who's coming back to be president, some bullshit QAnon thing. And like you said, look at James Alefonsis. He's a weird creep, but I don't necessarily think they're the pizza places where all of this is happening. But that's what they do. That's how they demonize you. You're talking about the JFK. The term conspiracy theorist was created by the CIA after the JFK assassination to demonize people that are looking into the official story. So now that word still has that power. So it's just crazy, though. It's not crazy, but I guess I just like talking to other people that realize the Pizzagate isn't just the two words Pizzagate. It has nothing to do with pizza, even though that's a term for whatever these, the FBI declassified of like terms they use for child sex procuring. But it's hard to get a normal lame, just a normal person to buy into it and get that. As a matter of fact, I called into the Howard Stern show. Here, I can maybe pull it up if you guys want to play this because we're on this topic. Let me find it real quick and get a share screen because you guys might like this. I called into his show and I asked him about Pizzagate, and he just totally blew me off like I was the biggest idiot in the world. And I just like to, because now I used to love Howard Stern. We're talking about kind of our maturation. I used to be like a huge Howard Stern fan, and now the guy is absolutely the most terrible guy in the world. Like he believes you should die.
He's a Mondo Puck now, man. He's totally lost his balls. He's a Hillary bootlicker. He's a shadow of his former self.
Yes, and you talk about the Hillary bootlicker, yeah, because that's what's so big about this video is like he's literally in the video. I mean, bootlicking for her, harder than anybody can. If I can freaking find it.
The thing, Alex, about Pizzagate and having some foundational understanding about elite deviance and elite pedophilia is my brother and I grew up in the shadow of the Boston Archdiocese. And that scandal and the fallout from that, and both of our parents were raised Catholic, and as very young kids, our father made it his part of his business and his duty to keep us far away from the Catholic Church and away from all that, and for very good reason. He grew up in.
Well, sorry to cut you off. Spotlight was one of the best movies ever. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. My old man grew up in inner city Boston in Dorchester in the 60s and 70s. And his old man, told him, stay away from the church. You don't want to go there. And he didn't. My dad, luckily kept away from it, but had neighborhood kids, other people he knew who were molested by priests, Catholic priests. And everyone knew about it. Everyone knew about it.
The worst part, though, Eric, is they wouldn't call the cops. They would send him to Argentina. They would send him to some other place where they didn't have to face persecution. So that's the sickest thing is they actually protected the pedophiles instead of like not only did they catch him, but they protected him after the fact.
Just move them to a different diocese 70 miles away, and they'll rape 10 other children there. So early on, my brother and I had this instilled in us from our father that be very, very wary of institutions like the Catholic Church and powerful institutions that have sway over people's mind, over their actions, over their families, over their social network and everything. And I remember a funny, we were at a funeral for my great aunt up in Maine. And, this is my mom's side of the family. So they're like all really Catholic and they still believe in it and still do it, or at least they LARP that they do. But, we never had to. My old man really gave us the strength to not have to do that bullshit. And we were doing this stand up, sit down in the pew, and the priest walks by, muttering something in Latin. And my old man goes, careful, man, don't bend over in front of him. He'll butt tuck you.
I mean, seriously, those priests they took advantage like little kids. I mean, that's not a conspiracy. That was all come to life.
It's the ultimate evil. So having that wind in our sails, the point I'm making is something like Pizzagate is not a stretch. And also, I'm sure you know about the Franklin scandal out of Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, I know, but explain to the people at home that don't know, because people probably don't know everything about it.
Yeah, well, Franklin was a credit savings and loans credit union out in Omaha, Nebraska, run by a guy named Lawrence King, aka Larry King, who was a black up-and-coming superstar of the GOP in the 70s and 80s. He sang the national anthem at 2 of the Republican conventions in the 80s. This guy was connected. He was in with the Reagans, Bushes, all of them. He was their black rising star.
He was a black conservative guy. Yes.
Right. So he had some sway and some suction, and he was the head of this credit union that was connected to Boys Town in Nebraska, which is also connected to the Catholic Church out there. And he was essentially using that as his piggy bank or his candy store to get boys and wayward children, and farm them out to rich people all across the country, and maybe even other countries. Putting them on jets, putting them on planes, bringing them to parties at Embassy Row in DC with elites, and it's all there, man. So there's a couple of great books about Franklin. One of them is by John DeCamp called The Franklin Scandal. And then I'm in the middle of the other one right now. You'll have to remind me, Mike, the author's name. Nick
Bryant. Yeah, The Franklin Scandal.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, here, let's get a share screen. I want to just play this short clip of me. Okay, this is me talking to Howard Stern. This is him fangirling for Hillary.
Oh, what a cock.
Only to meet you, but to tell you what a hero you were to me and how special you are to me and your level of expertise and everything you've done. To sit here and get to tell you that is very exciting for me.
I'm very normal. Alex, you're on the air in Texas. How are you, Alex?
Hey, now, I'm good. So, Howard, my question is, have you heard about the scandal Pizzagate involving Hillary, Jeffrey Epstein, all the child predators are running a child predator ring?
That is a fake story.
Let the guy go for a second. I'll speak.
But Robin,
All right, okay, look. For anybody who doesn't know what Pizzagate is, maybe you live under a rock and you don't read the paper, but Pizzagate was a thing where on the web, on the internet, there was a story. It was a fake story. And by the way, you say, where do these fake stories come from? Is it some devious plot? And it is, actually. The Russians and other countries like China, our enemies, sit around. They have actual groups of people in their military who do what is called disinformation. They try to confuse the idiots in this country who don't look for sources, who just are on the internet all day. We have people in this country who are like drones. They sit
and
there.
They don't get corroboration. They just believe what they read.
So anyway, Pizzagate turned out one of these.
So he's demonizing me.
Stories was that there was a pizza parlor in Washington D.C. that had a pornography ring that Hillary Clinton and John Podesta were all involved in, and it was a cuckoo story. Like you'd look at this and go, well, of course this isn't true. This would be in every major newspaper in the world if Hillary Clinton and John Podesta were busy with child porn. So, long story short, some guy reads this and he decides he's going to investigate on his own. So he gets an AR. I think he had an AR-15 or whatever. He comes in with an assault rifle, and he goes down to Washington to investigate. I mean, fortunately, all the people got out of there, but I think he shot up the place, if my memory serves me well, yeah. And so this is what's happening in our country. We have the internet. It has changed everything. And you got a bunch of morons who sit home and read internet all day. I don't know why they don't work. And they believe anything they read. And these are very gullible, dumb people. I mean, these are the same people who donate to the Baker family because, or these televangelists, even though Baker himself was in jail. I mean, it's the same. It's just the problem is there's a lot of idiots. Listen, you hear it all the time. There's certain people who call in are dumb.
He's talking about me.
What are we going to do? If I was president, I'd get rid of a lot of these people. Anybody with an IQ below 110 would be gone. That's the end of them.
What?
I put them in
Now here you go.
Well, come on. I'm all fired up, Robin. Come on with me. No, but in all seriousness, that is what it is. Now, what do you want to say about it, Alex, now that I've explained it?
Okay, well, think about this. In Podesta's leaked emails, he has a conversation with Marina Abramovich, who's a famous performance artist that bases her whole art on satanic culture and 666.
All right, Alex, I love you.
Believes it's true.
Alex, thank you for listening to me, and I got to go now.
I love you, Robin. I love your titties.
Right.
I love your
there
titties.
You go. Talk about something we can agree on. Robin's
I want
titties.
the milk from your titties, Robin. I want them to pour all over me like the rains in Africa. I love your
titties. You have milk in your titties. You're
so confused.
Right.
I would suck them like Lenny. I'd get all the milk out.
All right. Thank you. Now, there's a topic we can agree on. Look, leave me alone with internet theory and all of that.
Oh, man. That's great, dude. Wow. What a dismissive, condescending prick.
Dude, no doubt about it. I mean, he's just so full of it. And like, I guess I should have known then. That's kind of what woke me up. I mean, obviously I was awake to Pizzagate and I was still like kind of in the Howard Stern, like kind of listened to him a little bit. And at that time I should have known he had no audience. It was so easy to get through. And back in like the early 2000s stuff, you could never get through to the Howard Stern show. And I got through like pretty easily that day that I called in 2016. And so, dude, I guess my point is, we have evidence of Jeffrey. I guess what put me on this is we know that the Clintons were on that plane 26 times. So you know he's probably on it more than that. And the Secret Service had to be involved because they know where the president is going every single second of every single day. So there are people like Dennis Hastert as high up that are covering up for these evil beings.
Yeah, exactly. And he flew unguarded on the plane too. There were some flights where the Secret Service were not there. And I would tend to believe the regular blue-collar staff member at the island, as well as Virginia Gouffre Roberts, who both said, even in the Netflix documentary, yes, I saw Bill Clinton at the island. And this was at a time when there were some young-looking girls there. They could have been 17, maybe they were 18, whatever. But Bill Clinton's lying about being on Epstein's island, okay? If he's lying about that, he's probably lying about other stuff too.
Well, that's a good point. That's the problem with the sex trafficking. Like, that's why I think that we should decriminalize prostitution like they have in Amsterdam, because the thing is with these pimps, it's just as illegal to have an underage prostitute than it is to have a, of age prostitute. So now that just basically encourages them to get underage people because, I guess that's what people want more, and it's the same crime. So I guess like these people are just committing crimes and they're just covering it up because they know that they're crooked. So they're going to do as bad as, what I'm trying to say is like they are probably killing kids. They probably are throwing them off boats. They're doing as bad as stuff as possible because if we know of the stuff that they're doing and that's bad, think about what we don't know about as much.
Yeah, and I would point people to Jimmy Savile in England. I mean, Savile was basically the pre-Epstein, and he was a procurer for wealthy people and MPs and people in the BBC and probably the royal family. I mean, he was very close with the Queen. He was close with Prince Charles. He was knighted, yeah. And back in the 70s, there's a great clip of Johnny Rotten saying that he'd like to kill Jimmy Savile, and everybody knows about him. And then they banned Johnny Rotten after that. So if Johnny Rotten's...
He knew. And it's all because he was on the show Top of the Pops. So he was like the Carson Daly of the TRL era. You know what I mean? Jimmy Savile had access. He was the huge into the children's charity. And so if you guys watch a documentary about Jimmy Savile, the reason why I mentioned the boat, supposedly they would take these kids on his boat. He loved being on his boat. And after they would do something, they would throw the kid in the freaking ocean. I mean, what is a little kid going to do in the middle of the ocean? They're going to drown and die and get eaten by a fish.
It's so evil, man. And a lot of these kids who fell through the cracks in the systems, where they were at homes or they were taken to Dolphin Square. There's so much information, man. And there's information about the former Prime Minister, Ted Heath, which is David Icke's been talking about that guy since the early 90s. And he's been shown to be right about that.
Heath? I haven't. I mean, because I watched so much David Icke, I've heard him talk about it. But remind me, he was a prime minister, and what was he tied with Seville? I guess.
Yeah, I think he was tied with Seville, but just that there were very credible allegations from underage boys against him, against Ted Heath. It was investigated after he died, and the investigation showed that it was credible. But just like Savile, what are you going to do? They're already dead. So it really shows a lot of the institutional rot that's happening here in the United States and in England and really everywhere. I mean, it's a global thing that's going on, and it's not just a fairy tale. Unfortunately, what happens is that you have the QAnon stuff, and that stuff is anonymous message boards and just made up fantasy, not stuff that's based on anything real. I recommend people to check out Melfi Buddha's BitChute channel. He just released a 10-minute video which has Denny Hastert in it, and it has about a dozen other prominent Democratic and Republican politicians who totally got away with it. So it's in the news, man, but it ends up on page 7 or page 8, and then the beef between Kanye and Pete Davidson's on page 1. So there's your problem.
Dude, exactly, and they'll tell you exactly what Caitlyn Jenner's latest spin class was, or whatever, Kim Kardashian's stupid makeup line, but they won't give you any of this, and that's why Howard Stern's like, oh, it'd be all over the mainstream media. No. Yeah, right, they'll never cover it. So what's the psychological operation of them revealing it after their death, though? Like, why do you think it ever came out of Jimmy Savile, like, why do they give us that after the fact? Like, why not cover that up still? There
were so many complaints about Savile that the dam broke after he died. they couldn't ignore it. So Scotland Yard had to have an inquiry, and they, I don't think they dug up everything, but I mean, this guy had keys to hospitals and mental wards and crematoriums, and what was he doing down in the morgue? Like this,
dude, he was in the morgue all the time. They said,
Yeah,
dude, what the heck? And we know they like adrenochrome. Well, see, that's the other thing. Is like that's a tinfoil hat. Do they really drink the blood of children? I don't know. I tend to think maybe so. I mean, or I don't know. Have you guys seen the thing where adrenochrome is a real thing? Like you can buy, pharmaceutical adrenochrome. Have you seen that?
You get it off the dark web. Hunter S. Thompson will send you a bottle.
I don't know if that's true, but I mean,
I don't really ever go there with the adrenochrome because I don't. The sources on it to me are kind of sketchy. I'm not saying it's not real, but I don't tend to lead with that or talk about that. I like the conversation the three of us are having because this is just a loose, dialogue about it. We're not saying trying to present.
We know, and I don't want to say like
some of this stuff.
Yeah, like we said, Dennis Hastert. That's just guys. We're just talking about facts that we know.
That's facts, guys.
Yeah.
Anybody can look Dennis Hastert up, man. Anybody can look up Bohemian Grove. Whether what they're doing up there is actually
drinking the blood of children. I just want to say that I don't know if they're drinking blood. We can't confirm that.
The thing is, though, Alex,
if blood though,
if we're talking about it, then you know that there's people doing worse out there. But I don't know, man. I just think the elite and what Jason Burmis calls the predator class, they have their own set of rules. So certainly taking advantage of people, killing people, getting rid of the bodies, that does happen. That happens all the time. So it's not really a stretch. But I know, Eric, you just watched the Atwood documentary about Savile. Do you have any insight on that? What that was all about?
Yeah, Alex, are you familiar with the Brit Sean Atwood?
Of course, he's great. Yeah, I love him. Yeah, he's
Sean
awesome.
Atwood here joining you.
His crime stuff is awesome. And he was reading the Epstein stuff. I mean, that's where he really got big on YouTube. So what was I haven't seen his latest documentary. Tell me about it.
Oh, it's dark. It made me ill. So it was like nearly 3 hours, and Atwood did his homework, man. He dug really deep into Savile and his network and highlighted a young British girl who attended Top of the Pops and was abused and got pregnant and had to get an abortion. And this played out in the press, and she was vilified and demonized as at fault. And she's this young underage girl. And it was all the people there at top. It wasn't just Savile who was messing around with young girls, and they would farm them all in, man, and have them come be backup dancers and plying with alcohol and drugs. And Savile was buddies with all the cops, so he obviously got girls for the cops, and I'm sure he had compromising material on them because anytime there was like just so much complaints and more complaints where actually someone had to go to the police, Savile always had someone he could call to deal with it and sort it and sweep it under the rug and then rinse and repeat. And he just built up this air of invincibility around him. And like Mike said, man, he was so buddy with the Royals and other performers and musicians and artists. And it was just like the same with the Catholic Church, man, just this open, dirty secret that everybody knew about and no one did anything about. And so Atwood has a lot of great interviews with people who've researched it for years, who've dug up a lot of stuff. He had on, people who were in the mainstream of the British press who always wanted to go further and further with the story, but it would come from above to bury it. And of course, BBC is going to protect their golden goose. They're not going to, throw him under the bus because he would take a lot of other people with him. So, a lot of it is mutually assured destruction. And that's how the blackmail elite deviance works. We're gonna go to the top together, but we could also bring each other down with what we have on each other. And I think that a lot of that was going on with Jimmy Savile for sure.
Well, I mean, that's where we look at Ghislaine Maxwell and you look at her dad, Robert Maxwell, and that's supposedly what he did. It was called honeypotting. It's where the reason why you encourage these people to sleep with the children is so you have evidence and leverage against them. So they kind of have to play ball. So that's really a part of the, I guess it's a sting. Like you think you're just going with a kid and having fun at Epstein's Island, but yet they got a video camera in there. And as soon as you do it, you're toast. But it's like, People are gonna say, "Oh, that's a conspiracy. You don't know about Robert Maxwell's dad, this and that." I mean, yeah, it's just these people are evil. They do get children, they sexually abuse them. I mean, it's like we know Jeffrey Epstein sexually abused children. That's out in the open. We know
that's
Ghislaine
fact.
Maxwell
That's
did it. That's not
undeniable
arguable.
fact. Yeah, well, Robert Maxwell was a media baron, and he was a Czech national by birth. Obviously, an ardent hardcore Zionist. I mean, hell, his fucking funeral was over in Israel, and it was
Yeah, and
attended.
they gave him the same funeral that an Israeli soldier would give.
Yeah, it was like a mafia send off. All the dudes there who killed him, who were in on it, are there to pay their respects because he asked for too much money and he was starting to spill some beans.
Yeah, he got broke and said, "Hey, I'm going to start, lipping. I'm going to give you all some lip."
He got hubris. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he just took a little tumble on the Lady Ghislaine,
His daughter, the boat named after his daughter. I mean, he think
sick.
Do you think Elaine, like the child sex procuring? I guess this is what I'm saying. This is why I feel bad. There's a guy, that Predator Poachers channel, and I mean, I like the guy that runs it, but this is why I feel bad. Is a lot of times when they go after these kids that the predators, they were molested when they were young. So I mean, that's not an excuse to molest a child. But it's very cyclical. So I'm guessing, I wonder if Ghislaine was molested or Jeffrey Epstein was molested. We don't know their background, but I feel like that's the only way you could justify it is if you were molested at one point. That's because other than that, you're like worship Satan and you just want to like ruin people's lives.
Well, yeah, there's no justifying it. I mean, there's plenty of people who were abused as children that would never dream of harming a child. But
of course not.
Ghislaine was very much born into this world through her father because of who he was. He was a super spy for the Mossad. He played all sides. He worked with MI5, MI6, Mossad. He worked with the Soviets. He was U.S. intelligence. He had dirt on everybody, and however he could use it to his advantage, he would. And obviously, at the end of the day, I think his main loyalties lay with Israel, which is obvious by his funeral and what he would do and the means he would go through to get information. Like, for example, I don't know if you've heard of a Israeli nuclear whistleblower, a guy named Mordecai Vanunu, who were you muted?
Oh, what did he say? Yeah, sorry, I haven't heard of Mordecai, but what did he do? He was going to spill out nuclear secrets? What the heck?
Long story short, Mordecai Vanunu blew the whistle on the unacknowledged Israeli nuclear facility called Dimona. He worked there, and he had documents and inside skin and all information about it, and he wanted to go to the press with it. And Maxwell caught wind of this and made sure that he got it back to the Mossad, and the Israelis like, hey, we got this guy here. He's the one spilling the beans about Dimona. Should probably come get him. And Mordecai Vanunu was kidnapped by the Israelis and brought back to Israel, rendered back to Israel and imprisoned for a number of years. I'm pretty sure he's out now. I can't believe he's still alive. But, long story short, Maxwell had that kind of suction and that kind of leverage where he could do that with his network. So Ghislaine, where she comes into it, she has Robert Maxwell's Rolodex and the connections to high society and the royals, finance, media, the arts, music, the whole scene over there. And Epstein's your money guy. His money coming from the mega group, which is Les Wexner.
Yeah.
Are you
Victoria's Secret? Well, I mean, that kind of weird. That's like sells panties, the biggest panty company. Like, not that that's perverted, but it's kind of weird. That's just a weird.
Yeah. Well, so have you heard of the mega group before?
Is that Wexner's group, and who else is a part of it? I mean, I know he's a billionaire.
Bronfmans, it's basically Zionist billionaires who are Israel first. And
I'm sure Larry Silverstein is in that group, who got $7.4 billion after the towers fell.
Oh yeah, the Bronfmans are, the founders of Seagram's Liquor up there in Canada, and they were connected to the NXIVM cult with that girl Alex Mack from.
Yeah, wait, why are so many people connected to that NXIVM cult? That's another thing. All these celebrities, what the heck? I mean, that's not a conspiracy. That's like open fact. There's people that are on big time TV shows that were part of that NXIVM thing. Like, what in the world?
The NXIVM. So NXIVM is connected to the Bronfmans through Claire Bronfman, who's the daughter of Edgar and the original Bronfmans, and they're part of this mega group, ultra Zionist Israel First network that funds these kind of operations like Epstein. So Epstein is he's not a genius. He's not brilliant. He's not really that talented. He's a con artist, and he's a fence, and he's a front for the mega group and this group of billionaires and wealthy patrons who need to get the goods and the dirt on American politicians, just like you said earlier, to control them, to leverage them, to get them to do their bidding, and ultimately serve to enrich Israel and their interests. So that's really what the Epstein. It's not like this big fucking mystery what Epstein was or what he is or what Maxwell was and what they did. It's really obvious, and it's right there for anyone to see.
Well, Mike made a good point, though. It's just it gets hijacked in the media. Call, oh, you're a QAnon. You think JFK Jr. is coming back? I mean, they just throw the baby out with the bathwater. When that's not the case. We don't necessarily. I mean, we don't think that. We don't think QAnon's real. And I mean, I guess this is what I'm saying is it's the same people that tell you Hunter Biden's laptop is fake, and they have to come out and say, oh, it's real. The media is always going to lie to us. And I know you know that, and I hope the people watching this probably know that, but it's like, what's real about our history? What do we really know that happened? I mean, and you talk about Operation Mockingbird, where the CIA admits that they have, informants at every level of our media, from radio, television, to film, to marketing. It doesn't matter. They have somebody in there. And I use the example of Last Action Hero. I believe it's James Cameron directed that. And when they want to get military, they want to use like real military tanks, they have to give the United States script approval. And in that movie, the terrorists were originally going to be like Chinese or something. And the CIA said, no, we want them to be Muslim terrorists. So it's like, dude, they control the narrative. Everything is fake in the radio, television, movies. It doesn't matter. It's all propaganda.
Yeah, a lot of it's predictive programming. It's getting the seeds of ideas planted into the populace's head to be accepting of, a mass cal event, or having ramped up, friction against the Russians. I mean, for a while there during the Cold War and the height of it in the 80s, it was the big bad, Russians, the Soviet Union. And then, after that collapse in the early 90s, it then shifted. You saw a shift towards Middle Easterners. And then especially after 9/11, you saw a lot of that. And the CIA actually has a Hollywood office. They have a movie office within the CIA. Like you said, they go over scripts, they approve things, they approve gear, they send advisors to the film. Certainly the Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, anything. What's his face there? Bruckheimer, any of these big action.
Down. Well, I mean, any military movie, they're gonna have their fingerprints.
Remember Under Siege with Steven Seagal?
A great movie.
But yeah, I mean, it is a great movie. Gary Busey with the big boobs and the lipstick and the wig, and Tommy Lee Jones dancing around with the leather jacket. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Under Siege is great.
Oh, yeah, dude, how about if I rearrange your face? But what it really is just propaganda for the military-industrial complex disguised as a 2-hour action movie. But I'm here for that. But I recognize that all the Marvel shit, the Captain America stuff, that's all propaganda. I mean, it's just blatant propaganda. And actually, Sean Stone, who we had on, Oliver Stone's son, has done a great series called I think it's called Hollywood DC, right, Eric? Where he goes into the connections between the CIA, the intelligence agencies like the Pentagon and Hollywood, and these big studios.
I want to watch that.
It's really good. Yeah, I actually think it was an RT production, so you might not be able to find it anymore.
What? Sean Stone. I mean, dude, that shows you. And Oliver, his dad, JFK. That was like kind of my first red pill. I remember watching that. We watched it for a class in high school, but like I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, I don't know. It's funny, but it's just kind of dropping those seeds. Okay, so guys, obviously we're anti-war. I'm a conflict interventionist. So why does the military-industrial complex, in your opinion, get all of our budget when we have problems like fentanyl and homelessness, and like we could just reappropriate all those funds and actually fix some problems? But why does the military-industrial complex get our money? I think there's a meme where it's like a guy making $60,000 a year shooting a bomb that costs $80,000 to make at a guy that makes $0 a year. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Who benefits other than the guy that sells the rocket?
Well, there you go, man. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the good people at Boeing and Raytheon and other defense contractors who have a revolving door with the Pentagon, that gravy train is so freaking good, man. They got to have. I mean, shit. Afghanistan was 20 years longer than it's America's longest war. Obviously, Iraq, all the wars that go on. Any people who need to be bombed and blow up, thousands of miles away. Well, that costs some money, and it usually comes at the expense of the taxpayer. So. For me, it just shows you that those people in charge do not care about the American people. They don't care about your average suffering, working, people, mothers and fathers, single mothers, whoever is trying to live paycheck to paycheck and take care of their kids. They don't care about drug addicts. We have a huge problem with fentanyl and heroin here in New Hampshire. Sadly, New Hampshire is one of the states that has the largest drug problem in the whole country, which is so sad. I mean, Eric and I know people that we went to school with who have passed away from drug overdose. I'm sure everybody does. And
Gotta say, one of my best friends, you guys don't know this about me. Let me give you a little backstory. So I worked for the TV show Cheaters for about 10 years, and I can only say so much about that show because I signed a non-disclosure agreement.
Roger Lodge.
Yeah, so you guys can figure out a little bit about the only reason I won't talk about the truth about it is because I can't. But this is what I'm saying is the guy that was the host of it, not Roger Lodge, he was Joey Greco. But Roger Lodge did.
The guy who pretended to get stabbed, right? When Greco pretended to get
he got stabbed. Okay, but what I'm saying is, the host of it is a guy named Clark Gable, who after Joey Greco, and his grandfather was the Clark Gable from Gone with the Wind. This guy had the highest tolerance of any guy I've ever seen. Like, he would snort cocaine, he would be drunk and high, but he could always handle himself. He's just like, if you know people that get messed up, some people have a higher tolerance than other. Like, I have a buddy, Hank, that's like, he can drink a whole gallon of liquor or whatever. There's just some people that are weird like that. I'm not. I don't even use drugs or alcohol anymore, but this is why. My buddy, he took a Vicodin, or what he thought was a Vicodin, had fentanyl in it. And I don't say this facetiously or jokingly. He woke up dead with his wife and his 19-month-old baby, his fiance and 19-month-old baby in bed with him. And I would have thought if he died of a drug overdose, he would have been like strung out, shooting up dope or something. He was literally like taking a night off. It was like one of those nights where he wasn't doing something wild. So this fentanyl, it took out a guy in his prime, 31 years old with a baby. I mean, his whole life is ahead of him. And in one night, one pill that's made in some bathtub with some, pill press from Chinese fentanyl is killing people like that, and I know. So everybody's affected by it. And, they'll never talk about that on the media. I mean, they mention it, but they don't, if they gave it just 1/5 of the attention that they give the vaccine, we would save a lot of lives. But they don't care about those lives. No,
it's problem action, solution. It's going to be a problem, that we may or may not be involved with, Fauci, and then there's going to be a reaction, and we're going to give you the solution. I mean, it really reminds me of V for Vendetta, man. At the end of the day, the whole deal, and we don't even need to get into the COVID-19, business right now, and that could be for another show, but. Rand Paul hammered Fauci in those hearings about gain of function, about the lab research, about everything that was going on. I think there's probably a lot more to that that's going to eventually come out. But back to the military-industrial complex, it's all about profit. It's all about exporting death around the world and making money. And it's shit. Eisenhower talked about it, and when he was leaving office in 1961, and it's just,
And what did Eisenhower said? He said that the military-industrial complex that's his exact terms, wasn't he? Isn't that exactly what he said?
Yeah, he said, beware their influence on our culture, on our society, on, pretty much education, every aspect. And it really has, the militaristic mindset has infiltrated every aspect of our society. Whether we realize it.
The people on the left, these whatever social justice virtue signalers, they love war more than anything. It makes, I'm sorry, I'm going crazy. It's just like, I wish these idiots weren't so dumb and they would say, oh, we don't need to fight a war because I want to virtue signal and save some lives. But no, they're like, they hate America. Those people they hate America. So why do they think it's okay for us to go to the Middle East and kill Muslim people? Like, it makes me sick, Mike.
I know. Well, they want to sign up with your Legionnaire group to go to Ukraine with what was his name? Sergeant Matt. What was the character?
Marcus Matthews. But okay, it's funny. Okay, I got to bring this up, and the reason why I did that bit is, dude, there's people in Dallas, and they cover them on the Dallas Morning News or the local news. The people have 4 kids. They're ex, Iraq war veteran, and they're going to fight for Ukraine. I'm like, dude, I get you have PTSD, and you maybe only feel comfortable on a battlefield or something. But if you have a family, you have kids. Why would any sane person want to go get a gun and point it at another person and pull the trigger? Like go hunt something. I mean, do not hunt a human being. It's just ridiculous.
Propaganda. This is the level of propaganda that's going on. And I think, Eric, there's 30 or 40,000, volunteers coming from all over the world. Hi, Kitty.
Yeah. So there was, I saw this, Alex. Vice did a piece about the thousands of foreign fighters who were signing up to fight for the Ukraine Legion.
Pure propaganda.
One of them was this fucking former cop from Chicago. So, second to killing unarmed black people in the hood, are Russians. So he wants to go over there and shoot some Russians. You're absolutely right, dude. You have to be completely batshit out of your fucking mind to think that this is a worthwhile endeavor to be from another country, to go sign up to fight with the Legion of another country against Russia, who has not bombed the United States, who has not attacked the United States, who hasn't threatened us. Yeah, maybe they fucking meddled in the election, or they sent some memes, or sent some vodka.
They won the election with memes. They didn't get any inside information. I was sorry to cut you off, but
it's
literally,
bullshit. Russiagate's hysteria. I don't buy it. Look, my aunt's from Russia. I love Russian people, man. They're not going to brainwash me to hate Russia. All right. Putin's a kleptocratic thug, dictator, piece of shit, corrupt asshole. Everyone knows that. But most world leaders are that too. I got news for you. So,
we're the same in America. But you know what should have been the biggest thing? Sorry to cut you off, Eric. Is Pat Tillman? He was a guy that was actually a patriot, a football player that went over there, and then he died by friendly fire. And his wife said he was sending her letters saying how there's no clear agenda. We're here fighting for nothing.
He was ready to blow the whistle. Blow the whistle on the whole thing. Rumsfeld was watching him very closely, what he was doing over there. And then he dies, and they burn his flak jacket. They burn all his stuff. And his brother spoke at his memorial, said, my brother Pat was an atheist. He doesn't believe in any of this bullshit. It's all lies, what you guys are doing, with my brother's memory. Oh, yeah, Pat Tillman was awesome, man. He was...
But wait, why did they burn his flak jacket? I remember I saw the documentary on it, but what was the excuse for doing that? I don't even remember that.
They initially lied and said he was engaged in a firefight and he was killed by enemy fire, when in reality he was actually killed by friendly fire.
Training deal, right? And where he wasn't even in the battlefield, wasn't it training or something? I know it's friendly fire.
Yeah, it was obviously on the same side, and I think they might insinuate in the documentary that it was intentional. I don't necessarily think it was. I honestly would have to go back and look at that, but they basically burned that to cover their tracks, because they had a whole story concocted that he, went down a hero fighting the enemy.
He should have been Saving Private Ryan. They should have had a whole crew, the whole war. I'm serious. They should have had a whole team of people that just protected him.
Yeah, well, the Bush administration was using him for propaganda purposes. They wanted this. The war was not going well in Iraq or Afghanistan. They knew that. Even the Washington Post exposed that a few years ago with the Afghanistan papers. But they needed to boost morale, and they needed to sell it to the American people. So, wow, we got this NFL star who gave it all up to go fight the terrorists, and this is the story we're going to sell. They don't care about him or his family. They don't care about his friends. They don't care about the truth about that. But that was a really great documentary, and it's really sad and sobering to see something like that. But I've known other people who served over in Iraq, and they said, yeah, there's all kinds of shit that got staged. So.
Dude, we're not even talking about the Baki boys, the guy that had sex slaves at Afghanistan people. Usually they were rich men, and they would have young children that would work for him and be their sex slaves. And the military knew about this and overlooked it.
Couldn't do anything about it.
Dude, that's disgusting. There's no bigger crime where we should fight than people sexually assaulting children. I mean, there's no better agenda than to do that, than to stop that.
That's in the culture over there. Boy Love Thursday, they called it. All the Americans knew about it. They wanted to stop it and do something about it, but they couldn't. They were, that was like their tradition over there, these young dancing boys, and it's disgusting. It's horrifying. But, really, the militarism, like Mike said, man, the militarism has permeated the collective consciousness of our country and our society. So, when I saw you, man, dressed as the Legionnaire doing that thing, it's seriously one of the most fucking brilliant things I've seen, dude. Like I'm sending it to anyone who will listen. I'm like, you just watch this 5 minutes of what he did. Dude, you were able to really pinpoint and sum up how fucking brainwashed people are, and how they just don't even realize the levels of conditioning and fuckery that the media, the Pentagon, the newspapers, everything all together, dude. We have been psyop from the moment we were born. And the end result is that caricature and that character that you presented to the council there. So when you see that, and then about the psychopaths like the former cop in Chicago who's going to go over and fight with the Ukraine Legion, it was just so brilliant, dude, because I watched that video of the real guy who went over to Ukraine. I'm fighting. I got to fight him here. Russia's going to become a big enemy. They're going to take, we're next. And then in your fucking video, you're like, and Putin's knocking at the door here in Texas. He's coming. We got to stop him.
He's Putin's coming to Richardson, Texas. How stupid is that?
You can stay a loser and die on your couch, or you could come be here with me and fight for this guy. And then you show the picture of Zelensky, who's a fucking actor and a puppet. And it was just like, dude, you fucking nailed it, Alex. It's seriously, it is, dude. I'm not trying to fluff you up here, dude, but that is one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen.
Wow. Okay. Well, dude, it's just kind of sad though. It's like I said, it's really kind of hacky. I'm just saying, I appreciate that you're being nice, but all I did was that video you saw. I really was just the same army recruiter that probably recruited that guy to sign up for the Foreign Legion.
Exactly. Well, that's it. So that's it's just a brilliant commentary on the gutter, the gutting of consciousness, the lack of consciousness that we have, and you are rewarded. The dumber you are, the stupider you are, the more asleep you are, the greater you're rewarded. And that's sick.
I think, Eric, that's the biggest psychological operation is they want to make you feel insignificant. They want to make you like that. Just be dumb. Let other people make decisions for you. Do not look into the official story. And it's as simple as that. Just guys, open your mind. You don't have to believe anything that us three said today, because I know we said a lot of wild and deep, dark stuff, but just kind of have an open mind. And it's really not that deep, but I'm saying to a layman, to a normal person, it would be, because just kind of do some research, because they don't want you to look into it. They literally want you to stay asleep and they want you to take the butcher's word for it instead of looking for it yourself. Which is
Really well
now
said.
you got to go look and do a little bit of research. It's your life. You are a special being. Life is short. Like, I know life is tough. Everybody's got stress and this and that. But at the end of the day, it's grateful to be here. We got to have some gratitude. They don't want you to have gratitude. They want you to just think you're just some accident. You got lucky to be here, and your life's worth nothing. You might as well go die for Vladimir Zelensky, because you're just a piece of you're a climate change, greenhouse emission gas person. You're bad for the environment, causing climate change.
Oh, the levels of psyop, dude. And you know what? The sad thing is, most people won't ever see it. They won't in this go around, this carnation that we're in right now, during this physical experience. They won't even understand how they were psyoped in 6 ways from Sunday. So for a lot of people, when they would see that video of you pretending to be the Legionnaire, you know, there's a large swath of our population, dude, who would be like, man, what that guy said, I'm going to go sign up and fight in Ukraine to kill those Russians. It's mind-boggling, dude.
It's mental that anybody would want to do it, but I get there's some war freaks, but man, we do not need to have wars. We're adults. We got to figure out how to come to an agreement on this stuff. Like, I don't even really know the clear agenda is what they don't want Ukraine to be in NATO, but nobody would even care if they were in NATO. Nobody cares. Vladimir Putin, I guess, maybe cares, but it's like they make this a World War III when the border that we need to worry about is between Texas and Mexico. I mean, that's a border that Kamala Harris needs to go to. She won't even go there, but she'll fly to Poland in 2 seconds to go virtue signal for Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it's so true, man. Apparently, she's doing an awful job, by the way, too, man. She just had another staffer quit, and there was some friction between her and Jill Biden. It was just going to be coming out in a book. Look, man, I want to see Biden or someone from the Biden administration try to emulate the Kennedy administration. I mean, this is, this was 60 years ago when we were at the height of potentially having nuclear Armageddon. And one of the things that stopped it was actually a Russian submarine operator who was off the coast of Cuba and near Florida. And his submarine had been damaged by U.S. forces. And he was down there with 2 other Russians. And they had nukes. They had a nuke on board. And in order for that thing to fly, all 3 of them had to say yes and authorize it. Now, their communication had gone down, and they were underwater. So they didn't know what was going on up top on the surface. 2 of them were like, yes, let's do this. Fuck it, we're dead. The third guy said, no, I'm not going to do this. I know what radiation, I've seen what radiation does to human beings. This is awful. 1 nuke means we're all done. I'm not going to do it. So he actually didn't do it. And he was honored, years and years later after he had died, and his family was there for the ceremony.
Because the submarine was sinking, so they're going to die anyway? Is that why they're thinking about blowing it up? What was the decision?
Well, the submarine had been damaged, I believe, by weapons that were meant to try and get them to surface. So
I see. So they're going to kamikaze themselves to fight back. Yes. Yeah,
because their communication had been cut off and damaged, so they really didn't know what was going on. But this one, Soviet submarine guy was like, "No, I'm not doing this. I'm not authorizing it." And that's how close we've come before. That's just one story. But I would point to Robert Kennedy, when he was Attorney General, going to meet with a Russian ambassador secretly at the embassy down in D.C. The letters that Nikita Khrushchev and Kennedy exchanged to each other, the back channels that they had going on. Where the hell is that leadership nowadays? Like, we don't have anybody from fucking Republican Party or the Democratic Party who could be like, Ukrainians are being killed. Putin's got this war going on. It's not going to nuclear is not an option. This is the end of Earth and humanity as we know it. So where the fuck is the adult who's like, we have to actually sit down and negotiate with Putin? I know Zelensky wants to negotiate. He's been trying to get that done, but there's certain concessions that are going to have to be made on both ends to make something happen. Back then in the 60s, it was, hey, get those fucking rockets out of Cuba, and we'll get ours out of, I think it was Turkey, Eric, or where did we have
Turkey?
We had stuff in Turkey, and Kennedy said, yes, I'll do that. And he was good to his word. So they don't want people who want peace and actually fight for peace. And Robert Kennedy and John F. Kennedy, in my opinion, gave their lives trying to promote world peace. And they were taken out, but
100%. 100. I mean, that's why they took him out, is because they were against the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, they made some moves, man, that were like, oh shit, these guys are bad for business. They gotta go, man. And if you watch Oliver Stone's new awesome epic 4-part series, Destiny Betrayed, he lays it all out there, man. It's all there. So I would encourage people to watch that and look back at what Kennedy was doing with Khrushchev during the height of the Cold War, to try and ease the tensions and get this nuclear bullshit dialed in. When in reality, they both had hawks around them that just wanted like Curtis LeMay, Lemnitzer. There was these generals and these Joint Chiefs of Staff who were literally like, we're going to nuke this earth down to the last person. Like, we can win nuclear war. So this is the type of thinking that these people in power have. I don't think it's gotten any better. I think it's actually gotten worse. So when you see news articles that are saying, oh, a small nuclear war might actually be good, I think we can win this.
A little nuclear war is good.
That's what we're dealing with, dude. So I think what you do using humor is a great thing. And I think it's one of the reasons why you're having such an impact and why there's a lot of eyes on you, is because it's like letting the air out a little bit, turning the pressure down a little bit, man, showing what humor can do, getting people to actually think about what we're talking about here. Because what we're talking about is fucking nuclear Armageddon, ultimately. If one nuke flies, dude, that's it. There's no turning back.
And they teach you this in school, and I don't even know if I necessarily believe this, that we have enough nukes to blow the world up a million times over. Like, I'm just saying, they want you to live in fear of this. It's kind of like the Rocket Man in North Korea. Like, they want you to, so it's like, what I'm saying is, now the world's so screwed up, they are going to do is drop some sort of bomb. Like they did, like now the time has come to these freaking evil, sick people in my opinion. So I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't some big bomb that got dropped very soon. They're probably not going to drop the nuclear first. They probably drop like the Moab, the mother of all bombs, or the father of all bombs. Dude, the nuclear weapon, they want to do it because the last person that did it was America. So, I mean, I think that is, dude, that's like, there's somebody right now, like, just chomping at the bit to drop a nuclear bomb.
They're primed for it, and I just hope they don't misgender the bomb, whether it's the mother or the father.
And I hope they're vaccinated. I hope the person that presses the button is vaccinated. That's the most important thing.
Boosted. We got a couple super chats I'll read here for all of us from DJ Cogdill for $10. Great meeting you in DC, Mike. Actually, it was me who met you, DJ. I'm Eric. Hey, Alex, he says, I've super chatted multiple times on You Are Here to bring Ryan Dawson on. I think I've heard you mention him before. You should suggest him to Hey Eric.
Yeah, I like Ryan a lot. Yeah, he's great.
I will connect you guys, Alex, if you want to connect with him. And
I would love to have him on. I know he's like the most censored guy ever. He doesn't even go by Ryan Dawson on interviews. He goes by like Tokyo Ryan or a Tokyo guy or something.
Well, he lives over in Japan, and I've been doing a show with him once a month called The Four Horsemen with Reed Coverdale, where we get together and we want to have you, Alex, on The Four Horsemen. For
sure. Yeah, Reed's a man. I really like his his like, or whatever is like, a dry humor. I like Reed a lot. He's funny,
we'll start. We call each other a lot during the week. We're basically a couple, and I'll just go.
He's not going to say that. He's a trucker. He's not going to say you're a couple. Come on.
All right. Well, he's got lot lizards strategically placed all over the country, and he's got a thing going on with Clint from Liberty Lockdown. But I'm kind of Mormon. I'm okay with it. But Reed will call me, and one of my first things will be, I'll just be like, dude, Alex Stein, he's undeniable. And then that will start like a 10-minute conversation of what we saw on Twitter that day. And you're in those convos a lot, Alex. I have to admit that
makes me feel good. I love that I'm having that sort of effect. I'm saying you guys are smart guys. You guys aren't imbeciles, So I actually respect it that you guys are talking about me. That makes me feel good. Thank you.
We try to mix it all, man, and you're fucking owning it right now. So DJ, thanks for the $10, and I will connect Alex and Ryan for sure, because that'll be a great convo. We got $20 from Drywall O saying Alex Stein never landed on the moon. Is that true, Alex?
Oh my gosh, don't even get me started. We don't have enough time. We're almost at an hour and 15 minutes. I want to say, dude, I'm a moon landing expert, 1969 through 1972, and I don't know. I don't care how much you like the moon, this and that. I'm just going to tell you this, that we haven't been back since 1972, and they destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to bring it back again. So I can get you into all the tiny stuff. But just think about this. It's the only technology that's gone backwards. And the idea that we went there and back on one tank of gas, 237,000 miles and back, it's absurd. But it would take me all night to really dive deep. But yeah, I'm a moon landing hoaxer for sure.
Absolutely, and I haven't dug too deep into the moon landing, so I would love to schedule a separate Jackman Radio with you where we can.
Dude, I will handle the whole moon. It's gonna take a whole hour, and I'll red pill you on the moon.
You tell me some stuff that I need to look at beforehand, and I'll prep for it.
You need to watch Bart Sibrel. You need to watch A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon.
Okay, I've heard of that.
That's like, it's not like the quintessential thing, but it's one of the best ones that it'll just show you that these NASA, they wouldn't even put their hand on a Bible and swear to God that they went there. And you just got to look at NASA. It's like we're in the space race with Russia. It connects with Russia. It's very good. You need to look into that tonight. Both of y'all need to watch A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. It's actually well edited, and it's like, you don't have to believe everything, but it'll open your eyes to some unique stuff. Bart Sibrel. And I don't even like Bart Sibrel. He's actually kind of an annoying guy, but he made a good documentary.
Well, yeah, I'll definitely check that out. And then Time Out Humanity says, Primetime, Alex Stein with the Four Horsemen would be incredible. Well, Time Out Humanity, I think it's going to happen. We're going to get some of the players together. We're going to negotiate a world-class deal. We're going to get Primetime 99 Alex Stein from Texas. He's the pride of Lone Star. He's a great guy. He's beautiful. We love him. He's well-dressed. Tucker Carlson should be very careful because Primetime Stein 99 is nipping at his heels, quite frankly. He is.
Wow! I love it, Don. Thank you, Don, for the kind words.
So yeah, before we wrap, I mean, I don't know how much time you got left, Alex. I mean, I'm not in a rush, but if you got stuff going on,
I know the only thing is it's about 10 o'clock. Oh my gosh, I think
hungry?
My cat peed on my green screen. No, what I'm saying is, yeah, I mean, I just have had a long day. I'm kind of tired. I kind of got to lie down. But no, this is the thing. I'm happy that we ended with the super chat about that. I'll come on like in 2 weeks, and I'll give you guys all the moon landing. You know, we'll schedule it really soon, and because I kind of want to, show you guys. But you'll have to watch the documentary. A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, and then you message me, and I'll come back on for an hour, and I'll red pill. I'll give you my whole spiel. It's a lot to talk about, but I consider myself a 1969 to 1972 Apollo moon mission expert. So for whatever, take that for however you will.
Excellent. I think I actually did watch that in back in college. That's he's a guy that goes up to like Buzz Aldrin, right, and makes him try and.
He got punched. Yeah,
he punched.
Yeah.
He punched him. Yeah. I haven't. I don't think we've ever done a moon landing episode because there's obviously a big stigma attached to that one. But I'm for open and fair conversation, so I wouldn't be against talking about it.
Space. People love space. For some people, it's a really big thing. So I get it. You're never gonna believe it, and you're gonna call me crazy, and that's fine. But I just want to harp on. I mean, there's a bunch of different stuff. It's the only technology. If you compare a 1969 Lincoln to a 2021 Lincoln, the amount of technology is so much more. Yet the spaceship was able to go there and back with less computer power than a TI-83 calculator. Just think about that, guys. Just think about that.
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely something that is there's no reason not to talk about it. I mean, did you see recently the thousands of exoplanets that they discovered that are out there? There could even be billions beyond our galaxy. It's crazy.
That's another thing. It's like we talk about aliens or interdimensional beings or something. Like I do think there is probably some other sort of living life. Like I look at there's stuff in the ocean that we don't know about. So it's like the idea that like. There's just a lot out there that we don't know, but people, they want to say, oh, trust the science. We know everything. As we don't know a lot. We don't know everything. And that's what I think the first thing we have to realize is like, we don't know it all. So we need to question our reality. We need to look into it ourselves, look at the evidence and make the decision for ourselves instead of letting somebody just tell us this is right. This is left. You are wrong. You are dumb. You decide for yourself.
Yeah, I don't like the left-right stuff, man. I mean, people can have their views, but I'll talk to a left-wing person, I'll talk to a right-wing, whatever, man. If we can have an interesting conversation and it's civil and we can disagree on stuff, but we can still have a conversation and maybe have a good time,
Dude, of course. And I got some of my best friends that are vaccinated and, asleep, but I still like them. I don't care. I mean, I don't want to, like I said, I'm a libertarian like you guys are, that I want personal freedom. Live your life. Just don't hurt anybody while you're doing it. Don't steal my crap. That's about all I care about. I mean, seriously, at the end of the day, I don't give a crap. Just don't steal from me. Just don't take my house. Don't take my identity or whatever. And you can be a different, as a matter of fact, we need different people. If we were all the same, if we were all red pilled, we'd just be zombies. The life would suck, So that's what we need, some more uniqueness. We need some more eccentricity. We need to be eccentric and different. And yes,
Yeah.
it's like they're taking away that individuality, though. They're saying you can pick your gender at 6, but if you don't get vaccinated or wear a mask, you deserve to die. So it's just a really weird, it's this weird thing where they tell you to be an individual, but then they also tell you to fall in line and just follow the leader.
Mike,
Right.
tell
Fauci is God. Fauci
Mike,
trusts us.
tell Alex, Mike, how Lindsey Graham's going to deal with Russia and everything over in the Middle East.
Well, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to kill Putin. I'm going to make sure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the guy from Grasshopper. We're going to do an autoerotic setup. We're going to make it look like an autoerotic death via David Carradine. And I'm going to contact Sidney Gottlieb from the CIA, and he's going to tinkle some kind of poison in his martini. We'll see what happens.
That's what Lindsey Graham's going to.
That's what they want to do to Castro, is poison him. But dude, why would he say that? What kind of diplomatic stuff to go on Fox News and be like,
what a psychopath.
It's bullshit. I mean, it's just crap, dude.
I don't think he's gay or straight. I think he just gets off on war. I think that his sexuality is just like war, death, and destruction. That's kind of what he's.
It's funny you say that, because like as a content creator or something, like this is kind of my hobby. Like, this is your passion or whatever. It's like you're not doing this because it's just putting you in a mansion or something. You do it for the love of the game. So I guess what you're saying is like he actually has the love of the game, like this warmonger. Like it's like it's like they love it. It's weird, dude.
There's nothing like an aircraft carrier. I love it. If I could fit it in my butt, I would. Believe me.
So, hey, Alex, tell us where people can find you and what you got coming up, and you plug your show and everything.
Guys, it's Alex Stein 99 on Twitter. It's Primetime Stein on Instagram, and I'm on YouTube under Alex Stein at Conspiracy Castle. And guys, if you can't find me, you're not looking. But I'm saying I'll be back on the show very soon. I'm going to be really dropping some real deal moon truth bombs. Whether you believe it or not, I don't care. Just listen, and then you question the reality for yourself, because I don't want to tell you. I just want to give you these facts, and it's going to be entertaining in a comedic way. All my debates, not that I'm debating you, but that's the topic I debate. I try to do it in an entertaining way because I'm a natural entertainer. So guys, just be on the lookout. You're going to find stuff on social media. And I appreciate, Eric, and I appreciate you, Mike, even though I talk to Eric more than you. I'm just saying, I appreciate you guys even reaching out. You make me feel so good just saying that. I'm not bullshitting. I'm not just kissing your ass. It's like a super chat feels good, but almost the best thing is when somebody says like, oh, what you did is brilliant. Not that I am. I'm not trying to say that, but it makes me feel good because I'm an idiot. I'm a dumbass. I have like a 6th grade reading level. So it makes me feel good. Even though it's not true that I'm brilliant, you make me feel good. You make my self-esteem, because we all have insecurities. Every single one of us. I have a ton of insecurity. So hearing stuff and like hearing somebody's like, oh man, I was depressed and I'm still sad about my ex-girlfriend leaving me, but I watched your video and laughed, and I watched all your videos for an hour and laughed. Nothing makes me feel better than that. So I really appreciate you saying that, Eric.
Of course, man. That's why we do it, man. We want to lift people up and entertain and educate and inform and just keep things light, man, because life can get pretty heavy. But, you're in Texas, we're in New Hampshire. We got to come up with something, man, where we get together in real life and I dress as Trump and you're you and we go and do some of these meetings or something. Man, we got to hit the streets.
This week, you need a Zoom call. One of my meetings as Trump, dude. You need to do it. I'll tell you which meeting. You need to do your Trump. We can do it. We can do it together from New Hampshire and Texas. I want to send you the thing. We'll call into like Detroit or some big city or Portland. Dude, if you called into Portland as Donald Trump, that would go viral, Eric, because Ted Wheeler hates it. And you, dude, that's what we need to do is Portland. So I'll send you some information so we can sign up and do that together before we meet in person.
Our psychics are going to tell. My psychic will call your psychic. Well, Alex, this is awesome, dude. I've been a fan for a while. And you just keep doing what you're doing, man. It's literal oxygen when you're just there. The way your legs are kind of spread apart, and you have the shoes, the loafers with no socks on, and you're just like, put in Putin's brain.
Gas price is way too high. Vladimir Putin needs to die. Put bullet in Putin's head. Yes, that's what I said. On a blimp, eating shrimp. All the time I grind and shine. Gas price is way too high. Vladimir Putin needs to die. All right, I love you guys. All right, see y'all. It was epic. Talk to you later, guys.
Rock and roll, Alex. We'll talk to you, man.
See ya.
So I will end this broadcast if you want to hang out for a sec. So everyone, thanks for watching. Hit that fucking subscribe button. Let's get the subs way up on this channel. All of Alex's info is down below. Subscribe to him, like his stuff. Give him a shout out. He's doing the Lord's work. We're all here to do it for you. We love you all. Peace and love, and no fucking war with Russia. We're going to keep fighting against the warmongers in the military-industrial complex. Be good.